30s, we have to have some advice to give. Let's get into all the juicy and dirty gossip. And the rest, well, we'll just figure it out along the way.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Structured Chaos. I'm Kyra, and today we're getting into all of the thoughts that I have been carrying around all week. Hi guys, welcome back. We last left off where I was getting ready to head to Dallas and getting over vertigo. So both of those things have happened, and thank goodness. So the day that I had recorded the last episode, the vertigo started like being bad again, and we had really bad weather that day. So I don't know if that like had factored in it all, but I just remember like I was laying down on Thursday night and I was just like, please, like universe, like I just need to be like 40% better tomorrow. Like I have to go on a plane. I'm going away for the weekend. Like, please. And the universe listened, and I woke up on Friday and I just felt so much better. And then it just like increasingly just kept getting better and better and better. So that was really good. Thank goodness. And I have been to Dallas a few times. Probably like 4 or 5. And I've never really loved it. It's not like necessarily my cup of tea, but I was, excited nonetheless. I was going to have a different experience. I absolutely changed my mind about it. It was a really great city. I loved the character that it had. My friend like took me around and showed me, all different parts. And I really, really, really like changed my tune about it. I am in no way, shape, or form saying it's better than San Diego, because there's truly no place better than this, but I didn't hate it. And really honestly, truly what I loved about Dallas was the music. Everywhere we went, the music was good. I went to a plant nursery and the music was good. Like it didn't fit the people that worked there, that's for sure, but it was great music nonetheless. And I just like loved that. I came back and I was like telling my friends, like, I just like wish that San Diego had that, where it was like, you didn't have to go to a club. You didn't have to get a table somewhere. Like you could just go to dinner and go to like a bar after, and like everything was loungy, everything was great music. Like that is what I love to do at this stage in my life. Like I'm not trying to be up in the club, but you just want to like be somewhere outside of your house and like have a vibe. And so it really was like that. And so that was really fun. And of course, like the weather was a little chilly, but it was like nice. And like when you were in the sun, it was beautiful. So I got to, hit it at good weather time too, because obviously that would play into, someone's idea of the city, if they like it or not. But I had a really wonderful time. And like I had mentioned, I got to meet up with one of my clients, and we went to a cute little coffee shop, and it was really, really, really delightful. It was quick. But I'll be back. And then, there's nothing like getting a reality check of like, could you ever live somewhere else than the weather we've been experiencing in San Diego? And, I hate to brag to everyone, especially my East Coast listeners. Sorry, not sorry though. We've just been crushing it with our weather. I went to the beach on Thursday. I went to the beach on Sunday. It was just like exactly what I needed. I kind of, if you're watching, like I got a little bit of color. I was like telling my friend yesterday, I was like, as a white person, there is nothing like that first sunburn of the season. He's like, I've literally never heard anyone say that before. I'm like, yeah, it's a white people thing. Like now I'm like on my road to being tan, and like that sparks joy within me. So yeah, I really needed to be at the beach this week. even if it wasn't nice, I was going to find myself there, because, it's like I've mentioned before, it's like my place where I think, it's my place where, my thoughts come together and I really can like release some things. So I had a little bit of stress going on this week, that I brought on myself. So, self-inflicted stress. So it was really, really nice. And my friend met me there and we talked, and, she brought me back down to earth, and so that was really, really good. And then also over the weekend, remember, I'm trying to be efficient with my self-care journey. And so I got my monthly facial yesterday, and if you can see on Spotify, like my skin is glowing. So thank you. Shout out to Adele. She just really like knows everything about skin and is taking great care of me, and I just like couldn't be more appreciative. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't wait to just, like be 6 months in and like really see what my skin can look like. So, overall, I had a great week. It was enjoyable, but I do want to get into some of the news from this week. First, my deepest condolences to Mary from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Kelly and I have referenced this, and I have referenced her son Robert Jr.'s battle with prescription drugs. And I don't know if any other drugs were into play other than weed. I'm not sure. I have to imagine probably, but I don't know the details of what he was, taking. And last that we left off, he was in jail, and she felt good about that, only in the sense that she knew where he was. He was safe. And sadly, he had been, released from prison, and he passed away this week of a overdose. Allegedly an overdose. I don't think they've actually like officially ruled it that, but yeah. So, I mean, I'm not a parent. I've gone through loss in significant forms. I just can't imagine. And every death is sad, but it is just that much more hitting home because we watched it play out on TV, and we watched her be such an advocate for him, and, really be there and support him and help him. And I can't imagine that. And she had, expressed how he is her world, and he, sometimes gives her the will to continue on. And so I am really, really sad for her. And I just want to send her all of my strength and love. And just unfortunate, which leads me into another unfortunate individual. So the Brit Awards took place this weekend, and I'm not, watching the Brit Awards by any means, nor do I really know what's involved particularly. But Kelly Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne were on the carpet. I'm assuming, obviously a tribute to Ozzy and all of that. Kelly looks horrible. She looks grotesquely skinny. Grotesquely skinny. Is that the right phrase? I'm sorry if it's not. She is skin and bones. And if you're not aware, her father, Ozzy Osbourne, passed away this year. And so there was a ton of backlash about it, talking about it. She put out a statement yesterday saying, essentially basically like, how dare you kick me when I'm down? How dare you come for me? Like, why don't you have compassion? And yeah, I think that people do have compassion. I think that people, of course, you're going to get haters. Of course, you're going to get, the mean speech and things like that. But one, so you're aware that, your looks have altered in a significant way since the passing of your father. but also too, like, people are concerned. That's why they're saying something. So you are aware, they're aware. And I'm not saying that them, being mean to you is the way to fix this, but I think that, yeah, something does need to be done because she's not looking great. She is not looking great. Um, I've just never seen someone so like hollowed out before. And she's beautiful. And I can't imagine, oh, God forbid the day that comes when my father is no longer here. Like, I get why we're at where we're at, but I fear she's going to be, in the hospital with health issues at some point if this doesn't, uh, someone doesn't step in to help her. Um, it's not good. So hoping that she gets the help that she needs. And another person that I very truly believe needs help is Tyra Banks. So I know that the America's Next Top Model documentary came out a couple weeks ago. I just hadn't had a chance yet to watch it. And so I watched it over the weekend. And like I've seen the memes and stuff, about how like she's just like not taking accountability. She is not taking accountability. Like she is literally in her mind, like she is saying like basically everything I did is genius. Like, can you even believe we took it this far? And like, first of all, no one got famous from it. Like none of the models that won got anything out of it. So they literally like teared them apart, teared them down, had them leave their jobs, their world that they knew, promising this dream, and nothing ever happened. They specifically were told like that they couldn't even some of the girls that were in, model houses with other models outside of the show, after were told like we can't treat them the same because they were on America's Next Top Model. So I don't know if there was like some like clause in their contract, but they couldn't even get regular modeling jobs after. And then on top of the emotional abuse they went through, I mean, they showed this scene and it was also, it's so crazy because like obviously like this stuff couldn't be shown in this way today. And I remember these scenes. Like I guess I watched America's Next Top Model much more than I thought I ever had. But I remembered watching these things and then now as an adult to be able to like comprehend them and what was actually happening was really, really tragic. I mean, they made this girl, first of all, this girl was drunk in a hot tub getting touched on by this guy. And she doesn't remember it. They show her in bed with him. She has no recollection of it. They then force her to call her boyfriend to tell him that she cheated on him. So then that happens. And then like there was like, okay, let's fast forward. Like we can't rewind the past. We can't, but what we can do is acknowledge it and learn from it. And it's like they're watching all this and Tyra's just like, she needed to call him. We needed her to call her boyfriend. And it was like, okay, but what about the man who essentially forced himself on her while you guys filmed it and she was too drunk to remember anything? Like, we don't want to take any accountability for that. We don't want to take any accountability for a model who asked for the shoot to stop at one point because the male model was really being inappropriate to her and making her feel uncomfortable. And the response when she asks to stop is, we have all of these people here. We have all these people that are here. Nothing's going to happen. It's like, you're literally watching this man touch me. And I'm telling you, I don't like it. And you're just like, there's a lot of people here. We're good. We're good. Don't worry about how you're feeling. Don't worry about it. Let's not hold this man accountable or make you feel safe. I mean, just horrible. So if you guys have not watched it, it's definitely worth watching. And it seems like she's getting ready to launch another season of it in where does she live? In Sydney. I think she lives in Sydney now. No one cares. No one wants you to do it. She's delusional. She is toxic. She learned nothing other than I'm Tyra Banks and I can do whatever I want because I've created this. I mean, she had a very like toxic, hostile work environment with the people that she, was on a panel with. The whole thing is just like gross. So yeah, definitely watch that. You will be shocked. And it's just a real ode to us millennials. I think, are we millennials? Gen Z, whatever I am. Um, we really did see it all. We really did have some like horrible examples in life, and still we made it out funny and healthy. So, really shout out to us, the real survivors of life. Uh, and so, with all of that being said, it kind of moves perfectly into today's episode. March, if you guys don't know, is Women's Empowerment Month. And I just kind of wanted to kick it off by expressing some of the women in my life that have shaped me to who I am today. um Obviously, I'm not just trying to be a hater on men, and I am a woman. I just think, you know, historically, we've always been counted out. And I just, as I get older and older, reflect on how overwhelmingly fortunate I have been in life to have met and been surrounded by the women who really have like made me who I'm so proud to be today. Um Obviously, my mom, she, I think, in my opinion, really showed me what like being a wife was, and what being a woman who gets up and goes to work every morning, but then also to takes care of her family. And she did it with what I saw as grace. I remember as a little girl just sitting in the bathroom and watching my mom get ready for work, and then her like picking out what lipstick she's going to wear, going through her closet and what high heels she's going to put on. I think that I really learned like how to be feminine from my mom. She was incredible at making a house a home. So I definitely got, my decor and cleanliness, and, how to just make things feel warm, for sure, from my mom. She always made sure that I had like perfect birthday parties. I was like very, very girly. My love of Barbies, of course, my mom for sure started that with me. But I think just in general, as a little girl, watching my mom go to work every day, watching my mom go to an office, and we don't see this opportunity so much so anymore, but she didn't go to college. She started working for Hartford Life Insurance right out of high school, and just worked her way up, which wouldn't necessarily be a possibility in today's world. But I think, yeah, just knowing that no matter what, she got to where she was, and it wasn't by someone else's standards, always you know was impressive to me. And I would go, she would take me for bring your, child to work day. And to just like see her in her element. It was just like a really great example. And I always say that I'm also fortunate enough to, I feel like, have been raised by three moms. My two best friends' moms were such a big part of my life. And I mean, the three of us were together from, first grade through high school. So we really were intertwined in each other's families. And, I would go to work with their moms, and I, would help their moms cook. My mom, I did not get cooking from my mom, guys. I don't want to falsify that, but I watched my friends' moms, help, and they would go to the office, and they had really important positions, and they would come home and they would cook, and we'd be going to dance or cheer or softball or sleepovers or whatever. And I just always had positive women role models, and I just received so much love from all of them. It and they had groups of girlfriends too that they had had forever. So I was always, shown like women friendships and how to have them, and going on girls trips. And I just always, from the first time I can remember, I have been shown such great example of womanhood and how powerful it is and how unstoppable we are. And I just cannot be more grateful for that. And, to then couple in with, teachers that I had, and my cheer coach, oh my gosh, like what an impact she made on my life. And I just got to see very different versions of strong women, and people who, didn't have it all, or it wasn't an easy road, but they made it look easy. Again, it's just like reflecting as an adult on the things that I witnessed, and now I can interpret them in a very, different way. And it just makes me, again, just like, I'm so lucky, I'm so lucky that that's what the experience I got to have. And I would say that my first kind of introduction to like a really powerful woman was my dad's cousin. And I spent a lot of time with my dad's family growing up. Big Italian family, always did things together, all the cousins and everything. So my cousin as well, my cousin Sue, she was single. She didn't have kids, and I would just look at her in awe. And she just like has this je ne sais quoi about her, where she definitely takes over a room when she walks in. And she is beautiful. She has this beautiful skin and her hair, and she was in finance, and she was a bulldozer. You could not tell her, I would love to see a man try to put her in her place, because wouldn't happen. She would run laps around them before they even got one word out. And she drove a nice car. And I just remember being in New York City and like going into all of these designer stores, and she would just like buy whatever. And again, like, I don't know, I was probably 9, when my first like real memory of like recognizing what was happening. And I just remember looking at her and just being like, I just want to be like you. And I think too, just like, and she was funny. She's funny as hell, and beautiful and successful and independent. And I think that like, I just have always like seen women like that and just felt so much better. Like, I don't feel any lesser than, not being married or not having children. Like, I was shown like it doesn't matter. Like, that's not where all of life's happiness comes from. And like, you can still be a badass woman without, the things that society has kind of alluded that we need, in order to feel full. And so, yeah, I just remember always looking at her and just being like, I want to be like her, Um, Yeah, and to see where she is now, and what she's doing, she's never let up, and always been happy and always been successful. And I would say a later point in life where someone made a really big impact was when I was fresh out of hair school. I was working at this salon, Warren Trachomey, in Greenwich, and they had one in the Plaza Hotel, they had one in LA, and they had one in Miami. And at that time, like, Warren Trachomey was the salon to work at. It was featured on the hills, it was featured on Laguna Beach, it was featured on the city. Like, it was like the salon to be. And I was, fortunate enough to get a job at their Greenwich location. And I was the head colorist assistant's assistant. And I, of course, like, looking back now, I would have done everything differently, but also I guess not, because it led me to here today. But I didn't understand the game as much then, and I didn't understand like working around that much wealth. But I loved working for Leah. And she was this woman who was just like so soft in her approach, but so direct at the same time. And she really was someone that you could tell her clients valued and looked to her for advice. And I think that that was like a really pivotal moment for me, not in necessarily in terms of my career at that specific place, but in terms of my career of learning just how special and magical a hairstylist is. And, this was a place where hedge fund, it's hedge fund city and Yankees players and just an amount of wealth and like a society that I had no idea about. And to watch these women come in and, really trust in Leah, it really, really, really like set the tone for me of like, just again, a powerful woman, and not in an aggressive way, but just someone who is just again like holds so much value. And I don't think that I could have been in any other career, because I guess I have just always been a girl's girl. And it's always actually really like crazy to me when people aren't girls or like they don't have a lot of girlfriends, because it's just, I just think to myself, like, there is literally no world in which I could be here today without the women in my life. I mean, they have played such a pivotal role, from mentors, back when I started at my other hair salon after I left Warren Trachomey. My friend Sarah is still someone who is just like so near and dear to me. And I would just like look at her in awe and learn things from her. And, I have my people here, and I am just always surrounding myself with women who want to be better, do better, work on themselves, reflect, have goals and ambition. And, we are always willing to help one another and be a network. And I am so just again like overwhelmed with gratitude for my life and for my clientele currently is filled with high power, women in high powered positions, women who have started their own companies, women who have worked for the top of the top companies, left them and created a product on their own. Mothers who I don't know how they have enough hours in the day to get the things done that they do for their children and their husband. Like, I am so inspired always. And I just love women helping women. I love the networks that take place. I see all these other events of like how to meet girlfriends and how to meet, people who are, entrepreneurial. And I just think that collectively women are so strong together. And I think that, of course, we are who we are. Sometimes, there are women who aren't capable of, maybe being so free and not feeling jealous. But I think that as a whole, like we're just so powerful. And, you know, I want to continue showcasing all of the incredible women that I have been fortunate to come across who, again, like I said, have shaped me into being who I am. So I am going to focus on some people throughout the month. I am focused on women owned gyms and workout places. So yeah, so I'm going to take some classes, record it all, do some interviews, kind of just highlight and showcase them. And so that's the theme of this month. I'm super excited. I'm not going to get, too deep into anything today, mainly because I have got to do a little bit of TV in here where I need to talk about some things that have gone on, and I can't wait until the end of the month because we just had the Traitors reunion or the Traitors finale and reunion. And then we also have some updates on Love is Blind. The final episodes will be out this week, but I have to talk about them. So without further ado, let's just kind of get into the shows real quick. So the Traitors finale happened, and if you have been following along on the journey, you know that I have said that Rob was going to win it from the beginning, and sure enough, he did. And honestly, it was a little touch and go the last two episodes because one vote could have changed it all. Johnny clocked it at the very end that Eric and Rob were the traitors. I think it was beneficial for Tara and Johnny to be at the end because then you could kind of sway the vote in saying like, well, they lied about being friends and now now they've admitted it. So one of them's got to be fishy in there. So I do think it like truly played out in the best way that it could have. It got down to Maura and Rob, and I just felt for her because you could see the look of like pure confusion and shock on her face when she found out that Rob was a traitor because she did not see it coming. They had formed a friendship, a little flirtiness here and there. They had pinky promised, that they were going to make it to the end together, which they did. And he did keep his promise, but he was a traitor. People can say what they want. They can be a hater, but the game is called Traitors, and the purpose of the game is to fool everyone and stay enough under the radar and convince everyone that you are not a traitor. So he literally did the exact premise of the show, and I thought he did it perfectly. So shout out to him for doing the damn thing. The reunion aired directly after the finale. It was way too long. It was way too drawn out. Candace truly wanted her moment. She like wanted to make Rob the villain when like no one was painting him as like a picturesque perfect person. However, he played the game. You played it not as great. And like now you're mad because he accomplished what you couldn't. And so I was just like over her, like really trying. It's like, this is not Housewives. This is a game. So like, you got to come to the reunion differently, different toolbox. And I say all that to say Michael Rappaport, whatever, however you pronounce his name, wants to be a housewife so bad, so bad. It's just like he was like quoting housewife moments, like iconic sayings where he's like, clip, up. And it's just like, shut up. Like, you are not a housewife. You want to be a housewife so bad. This is, again, to the point that I just said about Candace. This is not a housewife reunion. This is the Traitors reunion. Like, we don't need to hear it. Yeah, so overall, like, I just thought it was like, just like too, like, just like, ugh, like, whatever. Okay, we're moving on. And so, yeah, Traitors has come to an end. A traitor won. This is the first time, I think, since season 1 that a traitor has won. And so, yeah, shout out to Rob. A man who will never get a shout out from me is Chris from Love is Blind. This little Keebler elf and his audacity. So last week I wasn't able to finish all of the episodes, so I hadn't got to the point, and I had said, you know, he was dating I think Jessica, the older, they had a age gap, and I was like, oh, they could work, you know, but I don't know. Nope. In no world can they work, nor will they work. This man is diabolical. He is so gross. Like, calling her out. She is a doctor. And you're getting upset with her that she doesn't have time to go to Pilates every single day and work out every single day. Now, mind you, even if this woman was 400 pounds, how dare you say anything? But this woman looks great. So, like, who cares if she's not doing that? And he's like, well, you know, I just do CrossFit every day. And it's like, that's your first mistake. If I ever hear someone, like, if someone has to state that they do CrossFit, you're not for me. You're not the one for me. We are not the same, because you have made that your entire personality. And also too, it's like, again, you're not ever going to come for like a woman in her weight and like what you deem her perfect workout routine to be. Like, you're short and ugly. So like, how dare you try to come for anyone in the looks department when you're over here at like what, 5'6"? Like, please stop. Please miss me with that, with your little Patagonia vest on and your like creepy aura about you. So of course everyone knows, like, they break up, whatever. He tells her that. Then they're at like the mixer and he goes up to Bree and he's like trying to spit game at Bree and get her away from Connor. And here's my gripe. Bree, you were partaking in that conversation way too long. Like, I understand you want to like hear him say something first. As soon as he's saying anything, you shut it down immediately. Like, you're a loser. You're gross. You don't get the time of day to be able to speak to me. You don't get that permission. But instead, you're just like listening to him. And it's like, you have a whole ass fiance. Like, if you don't start sticking up for your fiance right now and saying how he's the best man that you've ever had in your life, and that like you can't entertain a conversation with someone who is so gross and evil and vile and not important, like, I'm out. And she didn't do any of those things for way too long. And I don't like that. That does not sit well with me. I mean, it's not like you didn't know what he had just said and that him and Jessica had broke up and why they broke up. Like, I do not like that. And usually, like, oh, I'll bring you to the 4 seasons. It's like, I can bring myself to the 4 seasons. Thank you. I don't need you and your grossness to take me, but thanks. So he is just, oh, and then he wants to like come back to Jessica and be like, well, you didn't answer any of my calls or return any of my texts. It's like, you literally just said we're never going to be together. You're not physically attracted to me and I should work out more. Like, in what world do you think that I would ever make any time to communicate with you? And he's like, well, I think we could like, you know, hang out or whatever. And it's just like, you don't know how to deal with rejection. And you think, like, I guess shout out to you for being so delusional that you think you're so great, but like, we need someone to like kick you back down to reality, like, real quick, my guy. And now it's like, you know, TikTok has like his ex-girlfriends from the past have released like voicemails that he's left them. And like, this man has anger issues to the extreme, like short man syndrome to a T, to the max. Ugh, get Chris off our screens. Which also leads me to Alex. Last week I said that he was homeless, was pretty sure about that after continuing to watching the rest of the episodes. No, this man is homeless. You went from, I have a job in Florida, a job in Phoenix. You were living in Austin, you were traveling back and forth from Austin because you were seeing if you wanted to live there too. And so like, obviously it makes sense that you're going to go back and forth. And what makes sense even more is that you're going to stay with your ex-girlfriend while you're going back and forth to Austin. And then this other girl calls him out and she's like, weren't you living in Austin with your ex? And like, This man is just so crazy. And then to say like a split screen, then he says like, I see myself living in Florida and then like having a trust in Dubai and a safe house in Queenstown, New Zealand. Like, my guy, what? You're not on this planet, but I'd like to know what planet you are on. And like, if these things do come true, like, do tell how they're going to all happen, because it looks like you literally only align yourself with women who have a roof over their head because you're such a nomad. We don't like it. We don't need it. We're not asking for it. Ashley, I hope you run for the hills. I hope you never give this man the satisfaction of saying I do, because he does not deserve a wife, and he certainly doesn't deserve a wife like you. You are way too good for this man. Ugh. You want to talk about a season of horrible men? We're in it. We're currently watching it. Because then let's move to Devontae, who I said prior to, like, doesn't know that he's black. And which is still reigns to be true. I still don't think he does. I feel so bad for Brittany, because not only is she gorgeous, but she is so intelligent, and she is, you could see she is, I don't want to say desperate to be married. I don't want to say that. But it's giving possibly desperate to be married, to the point where she had already bought a dress, and like, no offense, girly, that dress ain't good enough to just marry some man just to wear it. Like, I think you could do better on your dress. I also 1,000,000% think you could do better on a husband. This man doesn't love you. She is literally telling him like, I just need you to tell me I'm pretty. Like, I just want to hear you say that you think I'm pretty. And he's like, yeah, no, I know. I get that. And you literally could say it like right now. And he's like, no, yeah, no, I hear you. And it's just like, girly, if he cannot even acknowledge that you're beautiful, and like, you don't want to spend the rest of your life with a man who can't even tell you that you're pretty, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't think he's going to say yes. So I think that that's going to save her from needing to make a decision, because it seems like she's going to say yes and wants to say yes. He could not be more out of it. And we now know in real time, or I don't know, maybe you don't, but spoiler alert if you don't, he is with a white girl and expecting a baby. So it seems like that's like the life that he wants. Good for him. I think he's gross. Ugh, like, I am just hating these men on Love is Blind this season, but not Christine and Vic. They're still going strong, even though we have not really seen anything from them. I think they just aren't dramatic enough for the producers to want to film, but I think that they're a great example of what seems to be healthy love. So the concept of the show is Love is Blind, and how could it be successful? And the one couple that seems to be successful in this, we're not showing. So, okay, cool. So, there's nothing that screams women's empowerment than bashing all of the men of Love is Blind. So like I said, guys, I am going to be kind of just like highlighting very important women in my life, and what our relationships have helped me become. So thank you guys for tuning in this week. If you aren't, please make sure that you are following me: Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, all of the things. Tell a friend to tell a friend. All of the information can be found in the description below. I'm Kyra, and this is your reminder that having it mostly together still counts. See you next week. Bye.